Hey everyone, welcome back to Land Investing Online, where we teach students how to profitably buy and sell vacant land. This is the simplest, least competitive sector of real estate with the best margins. For more information, please visit landinvestingonline.com to join our free Discord with tons of successful real estate investors. Come learn from the best. I'm Daniel Apke. Today I'm joined by my brother and business partner, Ron Apke. Welcome, Ron.
Welcome, man. I'm excited for this podcast. I think it's a good one. Excited to be here and teach.
Yeah, today we're going to go over how much money do you need to get into real estate investing or specifically land investing. But before that, we have a good question from one of our members, Jason. How much mail should I be sending to be successful in this business?
Awesome. That's a good question. It's a common question we hear from our members, from people who are interested in joining. One thing it depends on your goals, to be honest with you. Mail to start, you want to spread it out a little bit. We picked quite a few markets and did about 1,500 mailers per market, maybe 2,000, 2,500 per market. It matters how fast you want to go, to be honest. A lot of these, I think this question is kind of going to get wrapped into our actual podcast topic today, Dan, as far as how much money you need to get started. But I always suggest choose a couple markets and send about 2,000 to each market.
Yeah, and it depends your money situation, a lot of things that we're going to be covering today. But actually in our course, we break this down in one of the last modules, just kind of like advancing and scaling module on how much mail you should send out and what to expect. But I'd say a minimum monthly mail volume would be 2,000 to 3,000. I think you can get a good deal off of that. And you can take a lot more time with the inbound calls coming back. Rather than if you're sending 10,000, you're getting a ton of calls back. 2,000 to 3,000, I think you can make a good profitable land business with 2,000 to 3,000. I'd say that's minimum. 5,000, I'd probably even strongly consider if you're already in that 2,000 to 3,000, because I think there's a big jump from 2 to 3 to 5. And you can get 1 to 2 good deals a month, maybe even more than that, depending on how you price and the other things. But yeah, so say you do send 2,000 to 3,000, that's going to be $1,000 to $2,000 really of mail being sent out. But I hope that answers it. We're going to talk more about this, but let's actually get into the show. So how much money do I need to start in real estate investing? I first want to start by what is the biggest expense we incur with land investing, Ron?
It's definitely mail, without a doubt. Mails, I mean, it varies. USPS has increased their mail cost a little bit, but mail's about 60 cents right now per piece. So you want to make sure your mail's efficient, but at the same time, that definitely is. So basically, you want to see how much mail you can get out, how much money you have to spend, how much mail you can get out with that money. That's where you want your money to go towards at first, because that's where all your profit is.
Right, exactly. And let's go with my example that I said in the question of the day. So say you are sending $3,000 or 3,000 mailers a month. There's 3,000 times 0.6. Ron said mailers right now. That's 1,800 plus another 100 or so or how much of data cost would that cost, Ron?
You said 3,000, about $300. Data is 10 cents.
10 cents of data. So you're at a little over $2,000 for your first month, right? And then you want some extra money from that as well. So you can do this in different ways, right? You can send 2,000 to 3,000 and not send mail if you're really tight on money at the time and don't want to spend too much. You can send 2,000 to 3,000 and wait to get those calls back and try to close it and wait till you see results. That's not the way I would really do it unless I didn't have any other choice, right? You want to keep this consistent. And with this question, there's a lot of things you should ask yourself, right? Do you want to do this full time? Do you want to do this part time? Are you in a rush? Are you miserable at your job? Do you want this to happen quicker rather than later? So if you want it to happen quicker rather than later, then you don't want to send 2,000 or 3,000 mailers and then wait another 60 days to send them, right? You want to stay consistent with it. And there's other things to consider, like, do you have a steady job paying the bills? Those are the ones that really come to mind. What do you think about that, Ron?
I think the hard part is, and looking back, I think the hard part is you want to be able to have additional money you can invest in this business. maybe you have $5,000 to start, which is great. But you want to be able to throw more money at it each month to pay. Maybe it's $500, maybe it's $1,000 every month. $1,000 can get you easily 1,800 mailers or so a month. But those initial deals, if you did 5,000 mailers or something, are going to come those after about 30 to 45 days. You're going to get those deals, and then you're going to start making money. You got to believe in the business model, to be honest. You don't want to come into this and then just like, I have this $3,000. I don't want to spend anything over this. You got to keep on investing in this, and the money's going to come back. Daniel's first example, I think, sending, what'd you say, Dan? 3,000 mailers?
I said 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah. So if you're sending 3,000 mailers, you could 60 days after, when you think you're failing, you could get a deal that profits you $100,000. And we see it all the time. So it's just something you got to keep in mind. Like, one deal is going to pay for so much mail. It's going to pay for a year's worth of mail, honestly, if you get $100,000 profit deal. And it does happen. Does that kind of answer that, Dan, I think?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And then if you start, say, 2,000 to 3,000, I personally would send 5,000 out my first month, but I'd break it down into 1,000 to 2,000 mailers. So you're learning and you're pricing different, and you're getting more experience rather than just sending 5,000 in one mailer. That way you limit your risk. If you send 3 different mailers, 5,000 total, you get experience from pricing and pulling data for 3 different times rather than just once. So I'd highly recommend 5,000 mailers your first month. Just spread it out a little bit. But yeah, I definitely think that answers your question. And once you close that deal, so our average deal, we're buying for 20,000, selling for around 45,000. That was average last year. We do a lot bigger than that, and we do some smaller than that. We have some we buy for 5, sell for 15. It just averaged out to about 45,000 was our average sale price. So one of those deals, I mean, that's all you need to really pay for your mail. And then you have that money. Maybe you need the money for some of your expenses personally, you take some out, and then you reinvest the rest of it, whatever you want to put back in, because that's how you grow this business. You keep plowing money back into the business. And Ron and I, we didn't pay ourselves for the first year at all, just because we didn't need to at the time. We just kept taking our profits and putting it back in and back. And that's how we saw results. I mean, we profited over, I think, $600,000 or so our first 6 months. And we went both full time in this. It really and we're nothing special. Like, we're really consistent. We're not like super intelligent people we're just not out of the ordinary intelligent in that way. I think the hard work and consistency really paid off. But Ron actually didn't have an income. He dove in this full time. And if this didn't work, he told me right before this meeting, he would probably have a sales job right now. But we found a way to make it work just by staying consistent. And that's the number one thing in this business.
Yeah, I think if you have a ton of money saved, like set aside 2 years of living money and then put whatever, $30,000, $40,000 into this. I suggest, and we offer this, getting your first few deals deal funded. And we'll have other podcasts about this for sure. But that's going to keep your money going towards mail, and you'll still make money on your deal funded deals. But it's also you're going to be making money, and it's going to give you more money for mail as well. The more deals, the more money you're going to make. The more you invest, the less you invest in your personal lifestyle, the more you're going to be able to make in the long term. But let's get to that kind of main question, Dan. I don't think we've kind of brought that up. Like, what do you think the least amount someone should start with in terms of money? Obviously, we have education costs, which is very reasonable. Invest in yourself. I urge people to do that, whether it's education or something like that. And then you have mail, you have data costs. Other than that, there's not really any startup cost.
Right. And I think if you have a job that you can save, even if it's a few hundred or $1,000 a month or whatever it is, if you can somehow save money, borrow from friends and family, whatever it is to make it happen. But I think you should probably have a lump sum of minimum. I would personally say 5,000, but I've seen people do it with less. And when you talk about $5,000 in real estate, go talk to a real estate investor and tell them you're trying to start with $5,000. They'll laugh at you. This is a business you can start with very minimal, and $5,000, don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money for some people. So I don't want to downplay that, but the potential, like Ron said, you can make $100,000 of profit very quick. We just had a deal come back Sunday. We bought it for $95,000 and we have it listed now for $299,000. And that's just one deal. So the money you can make, that $5,000 is going to turn into so much more. And the fact that you can get into this business with $5,000 and it's a legitimate sustainable business for $5,000, it's really incredible thing. So I'd probably start with $5,000. And that's if you have a job and some sort of steady income. You're not going to be able to really jump in this full time with $5,000 and expect to really make it happen anytime quick. I'd give it 6 months and $5,000. Stay consistent for 6 months. And I promise you, well, I don't promise, but I guarantee you, you'll see results and be successful. Just give it 6 months. That's really what it took Ron and I to really get things rolling.
Yep. I think that, I think what $5,000 gives you, it'll give you about 7,500 mailers. You're going to get deals. If you do this and follow our system, you're going to get deals on those 7,500 mailers, whether it's one deal, whether it's 5 deals, it depends on you. I mean, it could be 0. If you really mess things up, if you don't answer the phone, like maybe you don't get a deal. You got to be invested, like Daniel said. But that $5,000 can get you a really long way. It's going to get you the education. It's going to get you about 7,500 mailers, and then it's going to get you the data. I don't know exactly what that's going to get you, but I would guess it's somewhere around that. And you don't look at it as like $5,000. Then I got to put in my personal money. Like you're going to get deals from that, and that money's going to turn around, and then you can eventually take out your $5,000 and then just play with the money that you've made. And that's what we advise people to do who are kind of who need that money maybe for other things. But if you have a steady job, like Daniel said, and you have some money to invest, and you like real estate, you understand the value in real estate, there's not an easier, or not easier, but a cheaper way of entry than flipping land. Would you agree, Dan? Like you said, we don't deal with banks. We don't deal with that stuff. We don't deal with flipping a house like we talked about in our previous podcast. It's just sending mail, getting calls back, filtering the good land, and then buying the good land.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And everything you said is very accurate. I think it's a great place to start if you don't know where to start, if you're new to the business, if you want to get into real estate, or if you want to just quit your job and make more money. That's what we did. Like I said, took us about 6 months. But anyways, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for joining. Visit landinvestingonline.com. Join our free Discord. Ron and I are very involved in that community. Say hi to us, say hi to others. Tons and tons of very successful investors in there. It's a great place to start, and we'll see you guys in there. See you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.